I feel like I've never dated anyone that I've actually liked. And I've got my glass of wine here and we're gonna talk about it. I was listening to Taylor Swift's Foolish One earlier and it reminded me of this. I was thinking about how I was such a fool when I was younger because I would always chase down these men and I would sit there like the foolish one. Oh, do they love me? Are they gonna love me? And I never liked them.
Oh my God.
Last time I dated someone was like 4 years ago, and when I was younger I would just date guys because I was bored. So I lived in Michigan with my mom, and every now and then she would move back to Florida for, you know, like a year or so, and I would always date people in the gap that she wasn't there. So I'm gonna blame my mother for this one. Yeah, Mom, if you're watching this, it's your fault. I would always date the most random men. Like one time I dated a guy full of tattoos, a little white man who had Ford tattooed across his neck. Yeah, Ford Motor Company. Ford. Why was I don't know. And he was also like a hardcore Republican. It's just a lot. It was just a lot. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. Relationships, all of my past relationships and how I handled them, and if I'll ever find love again. Spoiler alert, no, I don't think so. I don't think I will. Let's start from the beginning. My first ever boyfriend was this guy. It was my cousin's friend. Yeah, it was my cousin's friend, and he was cool. It was like puppy love, like little summer love. And then I didn't date anyone for a while after that until I got to high school, and I never even really dated this guy. Honestly, now that I think about it, I didn't really date anyone in high school, at least no one memorable. And if you're watching this and I dated you in high school,
wait a minute. Who are you?
and then I had my next serious relationship when I was like 18 or 19. I dated that guy for a year. Let me tell you something about that guy. Back when I was dating him, I was working a lot. I was working 80 hours a week because I was doing a full-time job, and I was doing 30 hours of DoorDash because I had some debt that I wanted to pay off. It was just a goal of mine to pay it off. And I did. Yay me. So I never really spent a lot of time with him. He would always spend the night at my house, and we would hang out and we would drink a lot. So you gotta think, I was never really sober dealing with this guy. Like he would come over, we would drink, he'd spend the night, I would leave in the morning, work for 12 hours, and the cycle would repeat itself. So we never really connected in a sense. Like, what led to our downfall was a vacation. We took a trip to, I think it was Toronto, Canada. It was just me and him, just us, chopping it up. I realized one thing. He was boring. He was so boring. I wasn't into him. I didn't like him. And I feel bad saying that. I didn't like him. Like I thought I did. And then once it was time and we actually spent a week together, I was like, oh my God, you're so boring. And he yapped a lot. He talked. Oh my God, this guy could talk. Like you would ask him what's 2 + 2 and he would go into like this whole tangent, like just talk nonstop. I remembered looking back on the relationship, I remember there was a lot of times where he just wouldn't stop talking. So I would just put the phone on mute and let him talk. And he wouldn't notice for like 10 minutes. I just would put the phone on mute and he would just go on. That's how we broke up. I broke up with him on the 4th of July. I declared my independence on the 4th of July. I still remember to this day. And that ending led me to the worst heartbreak of my life. So I think that was my karma. So we're getting deep, okay? I'll tell you the whole story. So I was working with a guy the whole time that I was dating the other guy. I never really thought that the guy liked me. I was just kind of like, whatever, because I think he had a girlfriend at the time too. So I was just like, whatever. Like I kind of had a small crush on my coworker at the time while I was dating him. But when we broke up, I noticed that he started flirting with me a little more. And I was like, okay, like, let me not even lie to you guys. I told you guys that I wasn't gonna lie, and then I proceeded to lie because I wanted to make myself appear better than I was in that situation. And fair warning, I know that it's bad. I was 19, it's not an excuse, I was almost 20, but I wasn't the best of person in that situation, okay? So here's the full story, not the crap that I gave you in the original video. So I was dating the guy for a year that I told you about, and I did have a crush on my coworker. I did. But my coworker had a girlfriend that he was dating since he was in high school. My coworker was 24. I was like 19 or 20. I will say that I probably was in love with him even before the whole situation happened. But I was just like, you know what, whatever. Like, he's taken, I'm taken, whatever. And then I went to Toronto with my ex, and then I came back, and that's when we kind of started flirting, like, for real. Like, so to be fair, from Toronto up until the breakup, it was like a month. What happened was with the guy that I was dating, I didn't talk to him for 2 weeks in between, like, the breakup, and in between, after his birthday and the breakup on 4th of July, I didn't talk to him for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, because I told him that I needed space. I was too much of a pussy to break up with him.
You're a pussy.
Before I was very afraid to say things with my chest, and I feel like that's something that I've worked on now as an adult. I'm almost 26 now, but that's what happened there. So there was a 2 week span where him and I did not talk, me and my ex that we were dating. So me and the other guy started talking, and we would get on the phone together. We would talk for hours on end. Basically, we kind of formed a little bit of a relationship in those 2 weeks. Obviously, I had known him for a year already, so we already had some type of camaraderie relationship going on. However, I was kind of falling in love with this guy, not even gonna lie, even though knowing that he had a girlfriend.
Oh my God.
Not a good person, I'm telling you. I'm not the best person in this situation. 4th of July, I broke up with my boyfriend, and he had came over to my house the next day. My coworker, he had came over to my house the next day after we broke up. He still had a girlfriend at the time. He was saying that he was gonna break up with her and blah, 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 blah. We did the deed that day.
You're a slut. I know.
I was wrong for that, right? He did have a girlfriend, and I got my karma. Like, you best believe, ever since then, I've gotten my karma for that, and I paid my dues, I should say. Then he told me he was gonna break up with her, and he swears that he did. I don't believe it. I don't believe they were ever broken up. But essentially, the relationship ended really rough. Like, I was in love with him. I just never felt like he swears that he loved me. I don't believe in any of that. I don't think that he ever broke up with his girlfriend, and I don't think that he ever loved me. Not in the way that he thinks he does or did. That's the real story. Not the bullshit that I tried to feed you guys. I'm not even gonna put out the original version of what I said. I feel like this is my YouTube channel, and I know that I sound like a terrible person, but I feel like it's kind of like you take responsibility for the things that you've done instead of trying to lie about it to the internet. And that's just kind of where we're at. I want to be completely honest with you guys. I'm a human. I've made mistakes. That was a big mistake that I made. Now I won't even talk to a guy if someone has a crush on him. I don't do the guy with a girlfriend thing. That was like a one and done for me, and I will never make that mistake again. I was very young, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys and try to make myself seem like the better person when I wasn't. Okay? I knew, and I still did what I did, and it just is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. But yeah, so that's the real story. After that happened, the day after 4th of July, we continued to kind of have a little bit of a relationship after that, because he told me that he broke up with his girlfriend. And obviously, only the universe knows the truth. I don't really know if that was real. To be honest with you, I was very naive and I believed it. So we had worked at the same store together, and I transferred to a different store, right? And he had came over to my house one night and basically, I would say, broke up with me. We never really dated. And we talked for like 30 minutes. Well, he talked for like 20, 30 minutes. And I'm the kind of person, when I get upset about something, when I get upset or angry or mad, I say not a fucking word. I'm dead silent. And, you know, he was telling me that he just couldn't be with me and yada, 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 and whatever men do to kind of get out of a situation. And I didn't say anything at all. He talked and I listened. And then when he was done, he asked me if I had anything that I wanted to say, and I said no. And I said, you are more than welcome to leave if you'd like to leave. And so he left, and I cried, and that was when I got my heart broken. core memory for me because I still remember it to this day. And I don't have the best memory. So for me to remember everything that was said, like that was a core memory. That's not anything that I'll ever do again, but I just wanted to be honest. I don't want to sit here and lie. And by the way, if there's any young woman between the ages of 18 to 20 listening to this and watching this video, if you're dealing with a guy and he swears that he's gonna leave his wife or leave his girlfriend or leave whoever, it's not going to happen. They are not going to leave their girlfriend, especially if the girlfriend was a long-term girlfriend. Don't let them sell you a dream like I did and let it go. It's never worth it. They're never going to leave. It took me 4 years to get over that. And I just got over it a couple weeks ago. Because, so I had called him to get closure, which I talked about in my paint and talk. And we talked and he told me everything, what was happening at the time. And, you know, he finished up the story like real good, right? And I just didn't believe him. Like he said everything that was happening, and you know when someone tells you a story, they feed you a story and you're just like, I don't think you're lying, but I don't believe you. He was like, oh, right person, wrong time. I don't believe that. I don't believe in right person, wrong time. I don't. That's like the one thing that if anyone ever tells me, I get pissed off, because I'm like, dude, there's no way. The right person is the right person no matter what time it is. It doesn't matter. You would figure it out for the right person. Right person, wrong time? Please. Please. You just didn't want to be with them at that time, and now you want to double back. Well, I guess what I'm trying to tell you guys is don't let any man, woman, anyone feed you this sob story, okay? Because it's not true. It might be their version of the truth, but there's always 3 versions of the truth, isn't there? Their version, my version, and the real truth. And the real truth is only for the universe to know. That's how that kind of ended. And ever since then, that happened in 2019, ever since then, I have not been in any other relationship. I haven't liked anyone, I haven't loved anyone, I haven't done anything. I mean, I've been active, but I haven't been actively dating. The one thing about me, from here on out, I'm gonna make sure that the next person I date is gonna be the love of my life. I don't wanna settle. I don't wanna date someone because I'm bored. Let me explain to you what I'm looking for in a man, okay? I want a charismatic man who is nice and very funny. Like, but not the funny like, oh, I have to try so hard, but like just like the naturally funny guy the guy who doesn't even think he's funny. Like, not no stand-up comedian, but the guy who's like, I'm not even funny, dude. Like, what are you talking about? And then who will open the doors for me, who won't ask me what I bring to the table on date 1. A man who has the same values as me. He can be religious if he wants to, but he doesn't look down on me because I'm not religious. I have a whole thing, but that's what I'm looking for. That's my take on relationships. And one thing about me is I don't know anything about them because I've never really been in one for longer than 6 months. Well, I dated that one guy for a year. I've never really been in a relationship where I was all in for more than like 6 months, I'll say that. Thinking about that is just so funny to me because I spent so many years crying over these men and doing all these things. And then now I'm almost 26 and I can't even say that I've really dated any of them and I've actually liked them. Isn't that insane? So yeah. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys next week. Bye.